It has been well documented that the relationship between Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez, well, it isn't perfect, is it? And recently, things have started to come up, and there has been a re-emergence of stuff that has been brought up in 2015 that has edged into the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. As you might have noticed over the past month or two, Valentino Rossi has went on to say some things about MotoGP currently. And of course, when you talk about current MotoGP, Marc Marquez's name is going to get brought up, as he is currently inside the top three of the championship. He's moved to Ducati. He'll be teammates alongside Valentino Rossi's protege, Pecco Bagnaia, in the factory Ducati team next season. And I asked a couple of months ago about the change that Ducati have made to bring in Marquez. Rossi said briefly that other riders in the Ducati setup had every right to be annoyed that Marquez got picked, and they didn't. But then Marquez, as Marc Marquez does, he never actually really responded to the comments made by Rossi, and they kind of disappeared. Now, as you know, Marquez went on to win in Aragon, but the big talking point from that weekend was the incident between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc's brother, Alex, as they collided in the Grand Prix, and it brought up a lot of heated discussions online. We've seen a lot of hate messages sent towards both riders, and of course, Pecco Bagnaia also blaming Alex, saying that he'd done it on purpose. And then in the build-up to the San Marino Grand Prix at Misano, Bagnaia retracted his comments and apologised to Alex. But Alex stated that the damage was already done, and his image took a real hit from it, from the comments that he received online. And this is where it comes into it even further. It is all linked somehow to 2015, and the clash between Rossi and Marquez at Malaysia, it all seems to fit back into that. Marc Marquez then goes on to win in Misano, and he goes on the podium, and there is a number of boos towards him as his name is announced and he walks on. But then a good video that maybe didn't get caught on the broadcast was that Pecco Bagnaia was shaking his hand and telling the crowd not to boo Marquez, which I thought was a really nice touch from Bagnaia, showing that he didn't really want to get caught up in it and he thought that it wasn't fair. Then we get to this week where Valentino Rossi has been on the podcast with Andrea Migno, of course his former Academy rider, and inevitably the discussions go towards 2015. Rossi of course gives his side of the story about how he went after Marquez in the press conference, and maybe he thought that Marquez would respond differently to the comments. Of course, we know what happened in that race. I'm not going to have to go into it again. I am fed up hearing about it, and it's been 9 years since it happened. Then Marc Marquez was in an interview speaking to Spanish show El Aguero, and he basically said that the boos go in one ear and out the other, essentially saying they don't bother him anymore. So are we going to see more boos from Marc Marquez if he's on the podium at Misano too? And why is this all of a sudden starting to come up again? Like I say, it's been 9 years since the Sepang clash. Valentino Rossi has publicly said many things about the incident, and of course has a lot of fans, and when you have a lot of fans, you're going to get a big reaction. Marc Marquez has said his pieces in his documentary series on Amazon, and really not went into the detail that Rossi has went into, other than his documentary and things from the past. The fact that it's affecting the 2024 World Championship and bringing in riders who weren't involved is something that I think needs to stop for fans. And it's getting worse. It's between two people, Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. It is not between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez, even though there is a VR46 link there. I think we clearly see Bagnaia's stance on it. He doesn't want to get involved in any of this, and that is why the clip of him telling the fans not to boo Marquez on the podium is a perfect example of where he lies in it all. You're going to get fans that support Pecco Bagnaia that were Valentino Rossi fans. It's just a fact. But I think Bagnaia is making it clear here that he doesn't want to carry on being the rider that is put up against Marquez, in the sense that he needs to continue a feud. When, let's be honest, the feud between Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi, I think, reached its end after that race that we had in 2018 at Argentina. There was that incident with Marquez running into Rossi, knocking him off, and then that created a whole new media storm against Marquez. They've never really raced on track since, and Marquez, of course, went on to win world titles, got injured. Rossi retired at the end of 2021, and we've never seen them since, really. The last time we publicly seen them shake hands was, I think, 2019 Argentina, after Rossi and Marquez both finished on the podium. Marquez won in Argentina, and Rossi congratulated him. It, of course, was the last time they actually shared a podium together, so that tells you something about that relationship. But I think it's dangerous for fans to think that Bagnaia will publicly go out there and start saying things against Marquez. I don't think he wants to do that. They're going to be teammates next year, and I really respected the way Bagnaia handled the situation on the podium. I think a difficult position. He's said it publicly in the past that he hates booing. He doesn't like people booing other riders, and he wants to change things. And I think it's a perfect example for a world champion who is in a world title fight to think like this, say things like this. But I don't know if this is going to stop. It's all fine for me saying how it actually is when you listen to podcasts, you listen to the media. There's always going to be stories out there that are going to sway fans in different directions. My take on it is, this is old news, and it has somehow led to me talking about it 9 years later, which kind of contradicts the whole point of me trying to forget it. But when it's constantly everywhere and it keeps getting brought up, those feelings that people have get re-triggered, and MotoGP doesn't need it. We have a great title fight this year. We're going to have a fantastic end of the season. And incidents, yes, they will occur. It could involve Marquez and Bagnaia. It could involve Marquez and Martin. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant end to a season where we're going to see a lot of drama. But is it really all linked to 2015 and the emotions get stirred up again if someone is involved? I don't think it matters anymore. It is just different. This title fight is going to be great, but I do think everything always somehow links back to 2015, which isn't right in the current championship. Personally, I think it all just needs to disappear. But, you know, Valentino Rossi clearly has a viewpoint. Marc Marquez doesn't really say as much, but he has a stance on it all. And yeah, we're never really going to hear the end of it until I don't know when. It just seems like it is a permanent stain on MotoGP that will really never disappear. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts about everything that's kind of happened over the past few months and the re-emergence of 2015 dog. Just an opinion really on how you think it is. Keep it civil in the comments. We don't really want any bad things said about riders. Just want a proper discussion about it all. And yeah, leave a comment below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And make sure to subscribe to the Christ MotoGP YouTube channel for more content throughout the season.